So War Tycoon as a whole overall feels like a very straightforward game. However, there are a few mechanics which do actually make it incredibly unique in its own way, and today I will be talking about a few more secret mechanics which the game actually has to say, and that is in terms of damage. Recently I have actually made a video talking about the damage multipliers, that the damage from each missile is different for pretty much every single type of vehicle. We all already know that this mechanic is existing in the game. The next episode number video I talked about the fact that helicopters are actually way faster than what they say on paper. Well, today we'll be talking about a completely new metric, and that is going to be explosive damage. So in order to actually explain you guys how things work, I will unfortunately have to actually go over my recordings and have to explain it in very much big detail, because this is a pretty annoying mechanic to actually understand and comprehend, because it has a lot of mathematics to do with it. So anyway, let me quickly explain you the whole entire system. Whenever we actually do go ahead and do any type of damage to our enemy, there's going to be a pop marker which is going to be telling us how much damage we're going to be doing. So for example here, I shot the leopard, and as you guys can clearly see, it did exactly 455 damage. So this is at least the number that is being told by us. However, there are two types of damage mechanics, and one of them, which was just dealt right here, was the main damage that is actually dealt to the enemy, and I'm going to just be calling this the hit damage. However, there is a second damage mechanic behind that, because as you guys can see, the leopard currently has 1200 health. So when I go ahead and actually shoot it, which it was at 100%, one missile from the F-35 was able to do exactly 63% to it. But if you can already do the basic math, you can already know that 455 damage is definitely not going to be 63% of 1.2k. So let's run some mathematics. Alrighty, so right here when I put this for a calculator, 63% of 1.2k is going to be equaling to exactly 756, but on the marker it said that the damage was 455. Again, these are kind of rounded numbers, so let's just assume this is going to be 755 to make this as accurate as it was with the last test. So when I do put 755 minus 455 for the calculator, it's going to be equaling to 300, and the 300 number is going to be the bonus amount of damage which is going to be stacking on top of the damage that is already told to us. And these explosive damage variables are also different from vehicle to vehicle, and they're also going to be having their own damage multiplier. How big that damage multiplier actually is, I cannot fully tell, because every damage multiplier is different from vehicle to vehicle. However, the main point which I'm trying to get to right here is the fact that the damage that we are actually being told by the game is actually lying to us, because it is only telling us one type of damage, and that is the primary damage. However, the explosive damage also has a few issues and inconsistencies with it. And that being, for example, if an enemy is going at higher speeds and you guys are going to be shooting missiles at them, the only damage that a lot of the time can actually count in is going to be the normal damage, which is the one that the vehicle actually sets. For example, right here, it actually said 195 damage that was dealt to the Super Hind. However, this was the only damage that was actually dealt, because due to the lag, as you guys can see this little explosion over here, it didn't have enough time to actually hit the Super Hind, so it didn't stack on top of the base damage. So to expand onto this, if a vehicle is gonna be going fast, or if your enemy is going to be at high ping, the explosive damage might just explode right in the middle, and it might just not hit the vehicle, which is going to be causing your missile to be doing way less damage. So right here, just to show you guys how accurate this is, a vehicle that is going to be standing still, I'm just going to be shooting it with one rocket from the brand new Bradley. This is going to be an ADAS, which is currently going to be having 1250 health. So here you have it. When I do actually manage to shoot it once, it is going to be doing exactly 234 damage. So, and then let's go ahead and take a look on how much health the ADAS is going to be left at the end of this exchange, and it has lost exactly 26%. Now let's run this through some mathematics. So here we have ourselves a perfect example that 26% of 1250 is going to be equaling to 325. However, the vehicle was actually taking exactly 234 damage, but for the sake of these calculations, I will actually be rounding the number down a little bit from 236 to 235 to get a perfect representation. As you guys can see, the answer is going to be 90. So here I have perfectly worked out the explosive damage that is going to be counted in to what the ADAS has actually took from the Bradley. So I think you guys can pretty easily understand what I mean by this. The damages are not very accurate because there are exactly two types of damages as I have explained to you guys in this whole entire video. If there are any other mechanics that you personally are very confused of in War Tycoon, do let me know in the comment section down below and I will be happy to make a video for you by breaking it down fully into mathematics to explain you guys how it works. Anyway, this is pretty interesting mechanic which I covered today and I very much enjoyed doing this. But yeah, what we have learned from today's video is that you should never trust everything that any video game is going to be telling you and actually run your own calculations if you're willing to spend the time for it. Anyway, for the time being, I'll see you guys next video. Have a great rest of the day and thank you so much to my channel members.